Hi, now we're talking about fats and oils. We call them lipids. Like carbohydrates, lipids are made of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. The defining characteristic of lipids is that these molecules don't dissolve in water. You probably already know that we use fats to store energy. Lipids are a very good way to store a lot of energy in a small space. They also have lots of other functions. For instance, lipids are a major component in cell membranes, and also they insulate nerves. The monomer of lipid is called a fatty acid, and there are two different varieties: the saturated and the unsaturated fatty acids. To understand the difference, you need to know that the major component of fatty acids are chains of carbon and hydrogen. You remember that carbon can bond to up to 4 other kinds of atoms? In this case, the atoms are either carbon or hydrogen. When a fatty acid is saturated, it's saturated with hydrogen. That means that the chain of carbons has hydrogens everywhere it possibly can. An unsaturated fatty acid is not filled up with hydrogens. Instead, one or more of the carbons is bonded with a double bond. A double bond in a chain of carbons causes a kink or a bend in the chain. This bend changes the characteristics of the lipid by making it harder for the molecules to get close together. Because saturated fatty acids don't have this kink caused by the double bond, they fit together very closely and they tend to be solid at room temperature. These kinds of fatty acids tend to be found in animals. Because unsaturated fatty acids have the bend, they don't fit as closely together and they tend to be liquid at room temperature. These kinds of fatty acids are more often found in plants. Sometimes a lipid is made of unsaturated fatty acids, but food scientists would like it to behave a little bit more like a saturated fatty acid. To achieve this, they add hydrogens. If you see hydrogenated vegetable oil in the ingredients list of a food, that's what they did. Saturated fatty acids are associated with certain health risks because they tend to clog up arteries. When you hydrogenate a vegetable oil, you're causing it to act more like a saturated fatty acid. That means it's more likely to act like a saturated fatty acid in the human body also. Fatty acids are often attached to other kinds of molecules. Their functions and properties are affected by what they're bonded to. When 3 fatty acids are bonded to a glyceride, you have a triglyceride, and this is how most animals store their energy. A phosphorus attached to a fatty acid makes a phospholipid, and this is a major component of cell membranes. Other kinds of lipids act as insulation for nerve cells, or even as steroids, which send messages in the body. So, lipids aren't just for making us bigger, they're also super useful and handy to have around. Stay awesome, I'll see you next time.